This is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
First at 6:30, a fire last night at a River Road strip mall has one business relocating for a while. Good evening and thanks for joining us for NBC 16 News at 6:30. I'm Alan Matthews. Gold Meadows has the evening off. We are looking at some frigid conditions over the next couple of evenings, especially tonight. In fact, it's cold enough that the Egan warming centers will be activated tonight and Wednesday night. Now, once we start to see those cold temperatures move out of the area, we're going to be looking at something brand new moving in as we have a new storm system that's going to push on through and bring us a variety of precipitation. 32 degrees right now in Eugene, so we're already at the freezing point under a mostly clear sky and north-northwest wind at 9 and our humidity at 69%. Now, the cold temperatures tonight into tomorrow morning, even colder. Eugene looking at an overnight low into the upper teens, Roseburg in the low 20s, and Coos Bay in the low to mid 20s. Roseburg looking to set a new record. Coos Bay could be close, and I think Eugene will be safe. I don't think we're going to drop down into the mid-teens. Now, we do have a freeze warning in effect for the coast. That starts tonight at 10, runs until tomorrow morning at 9, but keep in mind everybody is looking at freezing temperatures tonight into tomorrow morning, and you see that winter weather advisory in effect for the Cascades in Douglas County that starts Thursday morning at 1. That will run until Friday afternoon. Now, we are looking at very cold temperatures tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be a sunny and dry day during the day on Wednesday, but then we get into late Wednesday night, and that's when that next system starts to pull on through. We'll be looking at a wintry mix through a good chunk of the area with freezing rain likely for the Willamette Valley for Thursday morning. We'll break it all down with your full forecast coming up in just a few moments. Well, traffic along a portion of Beltline delayed for a while this afternoon following a deadly single vehicle crash. Oregon State Police saying at least one person is dead. It happened just before 4 p.m. according to Trip Check. Multiple law enforcement agencies responded, including Oregon State Police, Lane County Sheriff's Office, alongside ODOT and Eugene Springfield Fire. The crash caused police to close the eastbound off-ramp to Highway 99. It has since been reopened.
The fire marshal seemed almost certain that the fire came from a piece of equipment that remains running at all times, and it just something went wrong with it and melted from the inside out.
Now, this was the scene last night at a structure fire that was off of River Road. The fire burning the interior of Crackalisi's insurance office. Crackalisi says that he'll remain in business despite his office now being out of commission for the time being. He took us around his office earlier this morning to show us the damage that was done, namely the smoke and fire damage done to the interior of the building. He's now in the claim process for the structure, working with a different agent in town. Business owners nearby say that they were scared and feel awful for Crackalisi.
We rushed down here and couldn't believe, there was so many fire trucks and the glass was all broken out. So we're really sorry what's happened to the insurance company, to Tim. It's not, nobody wants that.
Fletcher says her store wasn't greatly affected by the fire, saying all she had to do was air out the smoke smell from the store. As for Crackalisi, he says he'll be working from a different office while the repair and claim process continues. He also had cats in the building, all of which got out safely.
We can point to where it would come from. We point to the outcomes. We don't have to compete against other services for scarce resources.
As the city of Eugene grows, so does the demand for fire services, which is why Eugene Springfield Fire is celebrating the passage of a fire service fee to bring in an estimated $10 million each year. On Monday, the city council voted 5-3 to approve the fee. Now, ESF says that this will allow fire services to catch up with the community growth. NBC 16's Gold Meadows shares that story.
Following the approval of a new fire service fee, $8 million in fire and emergency services costs covered by the City of Eugene's general fund has a new funding source with an added $2 million in funding for Eugene Springfield Fire's growth, officials said.
We're excited to see some relief in the pressure the system's been facing for years. And going forward, we're excited to have a revenue stream that's dedicated to fire services that as the community grows, as demand grows, we have a mechanism.
The fee will cost property owners about $10 a month, rising in cost based on the square footage of the home. The same applies for businesses with an average monthly cost of $38 a month. This takes the city from a projected $11.5 million annual budget shortfall down to a $3.5 million a year shortfall. It also prevents dozens of layoffs and closures of city resources, according to Caven.
3 fire stations worth of crews will be shifted onto the fire fee. And then the squad added to it going forward. The money from the general fund that's paying for those 3 stations today will stay in the general fund for stabilizing those other resources, preventing cuts to the police department and community centers, pools, library hours, those types of things.
Had it not passed, the library would have been among the financial casualties, according to the city, facing either a $1 million cut and the loss of roughly 8 librarians as a result of proposed cuts across all city departments, or with a second option, it would have lost up to 16 librarians had police and fire been excluded from cuts.
We applaud the city councilors who supported that measure. One of the least damaging of the 3 options that we were looking at. However, we did get dinged pretty hard and disproportionately in the current biennial budget, and we know we're not going to see any of that money come back. There's still going to be no more money in the general budget for books, programming, and materials. So one tiny step forward to catch up with the several steps backward that we took with the first ding in our budget.
Meanwhile, with 3 fire crews now under the fire fee moving forward, they won't be subject to general fund shortfalls, offering a sense of certainty for service and expansion.
The immediate impact will be the addition of a 2-person squad unit that's capable of running majority of the calls and enhancing our capability during wildfire season.
During each biennium, an increase to the fee is possible, and any increase above 5% must receive council approval. In Eugene, I'm Gold Meadows.
Any revenue from the new fee will only be used to fund existing and new fire and emergency medical services and to administer the fee and its income-based assistance program, according to the city. A 17-year-old from Corvallis was arrested Monday for bomb threats made toward the Albany Option School. In late January, the school received an email detailing those threats. Albany police, alongside Oregon State Police, searched the campus and found nothing. Law enforcement investigated the email further before identifying the teenager. The teen was arrested yesterday and faces 2 disorderly conduct charges. Lane County Sheriff's deputies were very busy last week dealing with drivers allegedly under the influence. Since February 5th, deputies have made 5 arrests for DUI. 2 of those involved crashes and 1 involved a minor behind the wheel. Deputies want to remind everyone to plan your ride home. Don't drive if you've been drinking or using drugs. Don't let others drive if they've been drinking or using drugs. And if you're hosting a party, make sure everyone has a sober driver. Police in Roseburg were dealing with a suspect in a hit-and-run DUI arrest. David Tollefson of Roseburg was arrested after apparently doing significant damage to 1 vehicle. After officers performed a field sobriety test, which Tollefson failed, they learned that he had previously hit 3 other vehicles and a telephone pole. Officers also found more than 2.5 ounces of methamphetamine. Tollefson's truck was towed and he was taken to jail for DUI, reckless driving, possession of meth, and several other charges. The numbers are in from a seatbelt blitz in Coos County. From January 27th through Sunday, February 9th, deputies took part in the statewide effort to remind drivers to click it or ticket. Here are the numbers: 25 traffic stops resulting in 16 warnings, 1 felony arrest, and 10 citations. Those citations weren't just for failing to wear a seatbelt. Some were for driving on a suspended license, driving without insurance, and failure to install an ignition interlock device, which requires a driver to perform a breath test in order to start their vehicle. The search for an investigator around Roseburg City Councilor Kylie Rummel's resignation continues. Despite not making much progress, councilors want to know what comes next. Rummel stepped down from her role as councilor a little over 2 weeks ago, claiming in a Facebook post that it was due to experiencing intimidation and threats to her job. At the next city council meeting, Mayor Larry Rich called for an investigation into Rummel's claims.
I'm going to let the investigation go where it goes. What I have is the city councilor that resigned, wrote down why she resigned, and those statements are very concerning, and so we're going to check it out. And then wherever the investigation goes, it will go.
Some counselors say they are concerned over expanding the questions Mayor Rich has for the investigator. The mayor says all counselors will have a chance to talk with the investigator and express their concerns. The mayor is still in the process of finding an investigator to look into the matter. Also discussed at last night's city council meeting, officials looking into expanding Sunshine Park, looking to add nearly 50 acres of land. The amendment to expand the urban growth boundary of the park just east of downtown Roseburg needs to be approved by both city and county officials. The urban growth boundary prevents the city from having complete jurisdiction on the land that cuts through the park. The city must get county approval for any changes to the land outside its current jurisdiction. City councilors did note that amending the urban growth boundary requires an evaluation of state rules and must consider public comment regarding the change. The Lane Events Center is kicking off its long-term planning effort to determine priorities for continued growth, and they want to hear from you. The county has launched a survey online to find out what residents want out of the Events Center. That input will help develop the center's master plan, and that master plan will guide how the center invests into the property over the next 10 to 20 years. If you want to provide your input, we do have a link for you on our website at NBC16.com. The master plan should go before the County Board of Commissioners this summer.